Smart Alec Show podcast.
Smart Alec Show, baby!
Yeah, it's interesting with athletes. Some are the most easygoing, people around, very genuine dudes, and some are, obviously not the case. So that's interesting. Are there any other athletes you had good interactions with? Like I know you mentioned Kaepernick at one point.
Yeah, so I went to the University of Nevada, and so did Colin Kaepernick. And so my boys and I went to a game at Louisiana Tech University, and I think it's in Reston, Louisiana. And we just went because Nevada never plays kind of this side of the Rockies too often.
Uh-huh.
And so it's a 6-hour drive. And so I said, hey, let's just go up there and we'll watch them play. And my boys were tiny. I want to say like 4 and 6 or 6 and
Okay.
8, something like that. And so we walked up to where the players were getting ready. And my boys both had on their Nevada Kaepernick jerseys, number 10 jerseys. And the security guard, the university police officer who travels with the team saw me and my boys out there with their Kaepernick jerseys. So I didn't know this at the time, but he walked away and then he walked back with Colin Kaepernick.
Uh-huh.
And Colin came over and talked to us and was really great with the boys and signed some autographs and everything. And then the security guard came over and I said, hey, did you bring him out there for us? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm a dad too. And I saw your kids out here with the jerseys, and Colin's a really nice guy. He likes meeting the fans. So I was like, oh, that is so awesome that you did that, because he could just, sit there and pretend we don't exist and nobody would have known the difference because we were behind a fence. So at the end of every Louisiana Tech game, at least pre-pandemic, the fans were allowed to go on to the field. And Nevada had just clinched their division championship. And so we ran onto the field, and Colin Kaepernick was right there, and my boys ran up to him. And there was a TV crew about ready to interview him because, again, they just clinched the conference championship by beating Louisiana Tech. And he basically Heisman's the news crew and says, hold on a second, I have to talk to these guys. And so he comes, says hi to my boys, and, they congratulated him. And we talked to him for a few minutes, and, we said, hey, we're going to look forward to seeing you play on Sundays and everything. He goes, I really appreciate that. But it was really nice that before he had to talk to the news crew, he let my boys come up and congratulate him first. So he's been a really nice guy. And then several years later, when he was playing for the 49ers, I was working for Amazon, doing a project for Amazon, and he was in my hotel. I was in his hotel probably. And we come back from dinner, and he and his offensive line are sitting in the lobby just talking. And there are these giant security guards, Alec. I'm talking like block out the sun kind of security guards, black, probably blocks or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, it's Colin Kaepernick. So I walk over to him, and one of the security guards, puts his hand right on my chest, says, hold on a second, sir. Like, no, I know Colin. We're friends. Right. And I walk up and he goes, hey, how are you? And I said, Colin, I don't know if you remember me, but, we met at the Louisiana Tech game. And he goes, oh, yeah, with your 2 boys. And so super nice. And we had a nice little conversation. And this was right after he started kneeling, and very gracious. And we discussed how and why he was kneeling. And it's not a protest against police or anything. It's just he couldn't physically not do anything because he kept seeing the violence and black men and women being shot, and so that's why he was doing it. And he says it's been taken totally out of context, and we just talked about that, and he gave me a new perspective on it. And like I said, he's been gracious to me and my family in the 3 or 4 times we've met, and just really like him.
Incredible, man. I think that speaks volumes to the person he is, that he actually told the the news crew, the media, like, hold on, let me say hi to your boys. And then that he even remembered that interaction. He has hundreds, thousands of interactions with.
Well, we were the only Nevada fans at Louisiana Tech. Okay. So if you ask my wife, there were 20,000 fans in attendance, and we were the only 2 in blue Nevada jerseys in the entire stadium.
Yeah.
Entire stadium. So I think at that point in time, that's kind of that turn into punch bowl scenario where we are so out of place in that he almost had to remember us. And he did, maybe he didn't, but it was nice. He made me think he did.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Seems like a nice guy. And that's, a whole other discussion, on the kneeling and how the media kind of flipped that around. Because he had even talked with, a military veteran, and asked what he should do. And the military veteran, you said, you kneel to pray, you kneel to do other things. It's a sign of respect. So He's like, this is a way you can protest while still being respectful. And a lot of other stakeholders involved kind of flip that narrative, in part for financial purposes, for like the NFL and ratings, because people were getting very upset, people that had, veterans in their family and things of that nature that were watching. So it was just a crazy scenario that's a whole other conversation we could get into.
Well, but the point of that is, and we talk about this in class, is that we live in a very complex world.
No doubt.
And the simple answer is rarely the best answer, and it's rarely the right answer.
For sure.
He's kneeling because he hates police. Well, he's very upset, and he hates the violence that he sees portrayed in his community. That doesn't mean he hates police, but that's so simple to say. But like so many things, it's just because it's simple doesn't make it right. Just because it's easy to put, just because A looks like it could go with D doesn't mean that A and D go together. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the middle. And so I think, to your point, just like we're talking about digital earlier, you've got to push for the smart, maybe sometimes nuanced answer, as opposed to just taking the simple answer and saying, well, it's simple, it must be right. Because in this complex world, simple is rarely right.
Yeah, no, it's a complex world, and I feel like we as a society have to do a better job to not, practice like mental laziness and just like really try to think through like on a deeper level, like what does this mean?
Yeah, but we don't have time for it. But what you have to do is, before you have your knee-jerk reaction or your biases kick in, you have to say, hold on a second, let me give myself 3 seconds to think about this and think about what it is, not be told what it should be or how it should be done, and just figure out, is there a deeper reason? And I think that's the intellectual journey that marketers need to go on, is figure out what the best answer is. Don't figure out what the easy answer is, because the easy answer is not going to be the best answer in most cases, as I've said, but also it's going to lead to suboptimal things, and then you're going to wind up chasing your tail, and that's painful to watch and painful to do.
Don't be such a smart Alec.